Hi, welcome to Brady's Blunders, where I show you the mistakes in my games, hoping you don't make the same ones in yours. For those of you who watched the first episode, you might remember how Nick Sibicki and Jenny Shen coined a new verb from my name, and to Brady became the word to have a completely won game, to play a really good game, and then at the very end, just to give it away, something I'm particularly good at. Well, given that it's the holiday season, I thought I would show you the ultimate example of my being very giving to my opponent, the ultimate Brady. And given that this is the only video that I'm going to do this week, I thought I'd start from the beginning. I hope you like it. So this was the first game from the 2014 Congress. So not the last one, but the one before. And I'm playing against Harold Lloyd, who's a good player. I don't think this was his best game, but, well, heck, he got the win in the end, didn't he? Anyway, I'm playing black, and he's white. And let's see. I played here. He played here. I approached. He played high. I backed off here, which I was doing a lot at the time. So it's setting up a variation of the Kobayashi. He played here, and then I thought, what the heck? I'll Kobayashi and low Chinese at the same time. Why not, right? And white played up here, then I played here, and white pulled back. And looking back at this game now, I really like black's potential better than white. And I think probably I should have just continued to build my position. But instead, I decided to go ahead and reduce his potential first. And I played here. And when Jenny saw this, she kind of laughed. And I said, what's funny? She said, well, this is a textbook play. And I said, no, it's true. I did learn it in a book. And she said, well, if you're playing a strong opponent, they wouldn't let you get away with this. And let me explain what I mean. The objective of this move is to make white flat on the left-hand side before invading the upper left-hand corner. That was my goal. And indeed, it worked, because white played here, and then black played here. White defended the side, and then I jumped into the corner. So instead of white jumping up to the 6th or 7th line and getting a huge side, I used my 2 stones to push him low. And Jenny explained that instead of defending like this, a modern opponent might do something completely different. In other words, they would know that if my objective is to take the corner, maybe they'd play something that makes the corner a little less interesting. And sure, I'm going to be able to reduce the left side some, but I'm not going to really be able to attack that single stone. But in this case, I got away with it, and it was kind of cool. So here I pushed him low, and we can continue with the invasion in the upper corner. Now he played the double Hane, and I would just suggest that all you Q players need to know the variations from this double Hane. White doesn't always extend here like you want him to. So you need to know what white's options are and what black options are, and figure out your objective from that point. Now for me, the left side didn't look very interesting, but the top side did. So I went ahead and changed direction. And this is where Harold came up with an interesting move. So he knows that I want to mess around with the upper side, and he came up with this, which I've never seen before. And what it is a sacrifice to make me take the corner in a pretty decent way. Well, he played this, and I played a forcing move to create a cutting shape outside, and then I accepted his gift. He played here, and now I took the corner in Sente, so I have no reason to be unhappy. He went ahead and defended here. This isn't a good move, and it should make everyone a little bit uncomfortable, because what it is just 4 heavy stones for white. And white really wants to play this. Number 1, it reaches out to his friends, and number 2 is it starts to make eye shape. So this would have been a better move for white, at any rate. He played here, and I don't need to go ahead and play this to live. So I actually got Sente out of it. And I went back and played a big move on my side of the board. And this is a very normal move and looks perfectly okay. But black needs to consider that I'm the only one who's played on that side of the board. And now the surrounding conditions aren't normal, if you will, because all the stones are mine. And I can play differently. I can play more ambitiously. And I could play a move like this. So what this move says is, go ahead, white, try to invade over here. And if white invades over here, it's actually going to be hard for him to straight up live. In all likelihood, he's going to have a running group. And because he's got a weak group, I should be able to make good profit both on the bottom and in the upper right. And that would be enough. I mean, it's good fun when your opponent invades deep into a strong area. Furthermore, this stone would help the top. And if white invades, he's probably going to struggle, and it's going to be a lot like what I just described, where I can chase him and make something like 6-line territory as it happens. But I'm not going to show those variations now. But this would have been a much more interesting move for black. Anyway, when I played here, white can't let me play everywhere and get all the big moves. So it's just natural for him to jump inside, which is what he did. I played here, and then he played here, which is a move I've not seen before, and I didn't know exactly how to deal with. And what I thought is, okay, he's playing diagonal move, and I think what he's trying to do is to make some sort of eye shape. And let me try to mess with that eye shape. And then I played here. But this move isn't really very good because white has a good continuation. White can play here, and when I answer, white can play here, and then white can come out. So now white is actually making decent shape and is getting outside faster than me. So white would be reasonably content with this. And this stone isn't necessarily going to be all that useful. And furthermore, these black stones here aren't completely alive yet. If white does get time to come back and save this stone, he can chase me, turn the tables, if you will. Fortunately, white didn't play that Atari and instead played here. And this is a bad move. It's heavy. It's not making shape, and all it's doing is saving a single stone. And actually, it's putting this stone in a really good place to deny white eye shape. So I decided just to play on top and see how white handled it. And white needed to run, so he pushed here. But then white made what should have been the losing move, and he played over here. And I say should have been the losing move because this should have put him under so much pressure that I'm able to gain and hold an advantage for the rest of the game. This is a classic example of the proverb, don't go fishing when your house is on fire. So the idea is this white group is in deep trouble. White's house is on fire, and this is going fishing. This is just saying, I'm going to take some profit over here, even though I'm really weak over there, and there should be a price to pay for that. Talking with Harold afterwards, he actually felt that this move undermined my base and would let him counterattack. But actually, this group is strong enough that it should have no problem at all. So after white played there, I quickly covered. White played here. And what's interesting is a lot of my moves that I make and that for the next while aren't the best, but they're all good enough to put white under a lot of pressure. I Haned, and he played here, and then here's what I'm talking about. Right now, I should just go ahead and keep playing on top and put maximum pressure on white, but instead, I defended my cutting point. I don't really need to defend the cutting point because I'm the only one with stones around, so if white goes ahead and tries to cut, it wouldn't be that big a deal. White attached here, and then I played this, thinking this is, triple purpose move. Number one, I'm denying white shape, because you can make a tiger's mouth here or something. Number two, I'm making good shape because this is a classic table's mouth. And number three, I'm threatening to cut off the stone that white just played. So white connected. And then I played here. At this point, I'm really happy with the game. White's got a string of stones with no eyes, and no longer does it have anywhere to run. And at this point, I'm not thinking how to attack to make points. My goal is to kill this group and, well, just own the game. White Haned here, and this is where I play another one of those suboptimal moves that I talked about. And I thought it was really clever at the time. I peeped here, and the idea was to say there's not enough room to make eyes over here. And when black connected, I thought that's what I'd done. I thought I'd taken away white's eye shape. But there's a common Tsuji for white, and that is when you've got this shape on the third line, you can play a hane here and a hane here to make an eye. So when black defends, now this is an eye. You can see that black can't play here to take away the eye because white can just descend, and that's a definite eye. All right, so with this, white managed to make one eye, but that's only half the battle, right? I played here to take away the second eye, and this is the third example of the not best move, but still good enough, but not the best move. And the reason this isn't the best is this sort of move is really good in the endgame when you're trying to maximize points. But my objective right now isn't to maximize points through endgame plays. My objective is to kill that group. And to that end, this, although it's funny looking shape, is better. And the reason is white has no forcing moves in the area. White can't make an eye and has no forcing moves. So, whereas this leaves white this move later as a forcing move. So whether it's in a ko later in the game, or maybe something in the immediate fighting that I can't see right now, this is a useful move for white. Okay, so when I played this, white tried it in a couple ways to break out, and he played here, which I just blocked. And you can see that white can't capture the stone because that would be self-atari. And then white tried to come out this way. Rather than blocking here, I fell back a little bit, strengthening this group. White pushed, and then I blocked. And then white came over here, figuring it was sente, that the next move would be big, and I answered, making shape. And then white cut, and I defended, and white pushed this way, and I came out, and then white haned. So here we are. We've got this white group that's fully contained, which has only one eye, and white's trying to start a fight on the outside. So here's the first game problem, if you will. You're black. Where would you play next? Right. I had a real genius idea of playing a triple purpose move, or so I thought, and I played here. And I thought this did three things. Number one, I recognized that my weakest group is these four stones, and it can be separated from this group over here. And I thought, okay, by playing here, I'm helping these four stones. So that's purpose one, and that's my most important purpose. The second thing I thought is, well, this serves as a ladder breaker. So if I play a stone, if I cut here, this is going to be very useful. And the third thing I thought is this starts to help me build a really big right side. But of course, this move that tries to do three things does none of them well. And let's do it in reverse order. So if I want the right side, obviously I can do it much bigger with a move like this. I'm building the whole right side. But let's get real. I don't need the right side. All I have to do is kill this white string, and white's going to resign. It's too many points. It's too huge. So I don't need the string and the right side. I just need the white group to die. So thinking at all about the right side is wrong here. Second, as far as it being a ladder breaker, the ladder's already broken. I mean, the ladder's already good for me. So playing another ladder breaker does no good. And then finally, as something that connects and saves these 4 stones to this, yes, that's the correct purpose, and that's what I really needed to focus on. And this move actually is weak. It doesn't completely connect those stones. So, and white immediately played here and made me think long and hard about how to, well, keep him confined and to keep me connected. So if this isn't the best move, what is? Well, even something as ugly and slow looking as this would have been miles better, because this says to white, where are you going from here? Because I think you're going nowhere. Why don't you just resign? And white might try to counterattack against this group, but it shouldn't work, and therefore this move is completely effective. If you want to do it a little bit prettier, this would be better, or at least as good as this move here. But the point is, if my objective was to stay connected to the group a little to the right, then just do it. Don't do it fancy. Don't try to be bigger, especially when you don't need to. There's sometimes you need to be ambitious because you're behind or you're not sure of the count. But when you've got a 1 game, don't be fancy. All right, back to the game. So I played here, and then white played here, and all of a sudden I started to worry. And I recognized that if white could start to surround these 4 stones, they might not die, but there may be a shortage of liberties problem. And if white can make me short of liberties, he may be able to make a play here, Sente, and then make a second eye by playing here. That's what I had to stop, or that's what I thought I had to stop. And I went ahead and played here to take away that second eye potential. So I also thought it would be Sente, and that's where I was wrong, because white counterattacked here. And this is where I, well, frankly, got really nervous and frustrated, because I thought I had a nice clean kill, and all of a sudden I gave white the chance to complicate matters. All right, you're black. Where would you play now? Okay, I read for a while. I just didn't read deeply enough and well enough, and I thought I was actually in deep trouble with those 4 stones. And so what I did is I came here to help them. And the idea being that now I'm either going to capture these 2 or connect this way, and I'm fine. But it turns out that wasn't necessary, and I had a better move. I could have just played here. If white comes here and decides to help the cutting stone, then that same move that I did play still works, right? I can either capture on the left or connect to the right, so I'm fine. And if white decides to go ahead and continue to take away liberties and make things difficult, this is what I read, or rather what I misread. All of a sudden I thought this move doesn't work, because if white plays here, black can no longer do this. This was the shortage of liberties that concerned me. Furthermore, if white played here, black can't play here because this is a snapback. So I thought this approach would get me killed and I'd lose the game. I should have seen that black can play here, and black's going to be fine. If black right now has 3 liberties, and so long as he has 3 liberties or gets 3 liberties again, black's going to be able to come back and cut here and take these 2 stones. So that's a real problem for white. And if white tries to prevent that from happening, now A and BA are beginning to look a bit mie, right? If white gets one, black's going to get the other, or at least he's going to get it relatively soon. And if I can get either of those, then my stones are going to be secure. So let's say that white helps these stones first. Obviously I can't cut yet, but once I play here, it's clear that I'll be able to cut on the very next move, because white needs to move out, and now I can do this. If white tries to play this way, I can go ahead and capture the stones like this. So at any rate, black is going to get out, black is going to be fine, and yeah, all is right with the world. wish I'd seen this. But instead, it was reading this far that made me, well, panic a bit. Okay. So I didn't play that way, and instead I played this way. White connected this way, and I did what I'd read, and I played here, and then white played here. And again, I would ask the question, if you were black, where would you play now? Oh, I feel terrible about this one because I'm sure then I knew what the right answer is, and right now it stares me in the face, but I just think I must have been really flustered. I was sure I had a big kill, and now I've given it away. So the first thing you need to recognize as black is you can't kill white anymore, right? White's going to live. So then the question is how to minimize the damage. But I didn't really think about it that way. And when white played this move, I went ahead and defended it, which was totally wrong. White threatened to capture this stone here. I played above. He extended. I thought I was making a false eye here, but of course really all I'm doing is make it easy for white to capture this stone. And I tried to seal white in as best I could, and then white played here. And now, instead of having thickness on the outside and a nice wall, this wall is incredibly thin and easy to cut. So this was a really bad result. White's completely alive, somewhat out, and I'm thin. Not a good result. So instead of defending that little stupid single stone, I should just go ahead and seal white off, right? There's not much white can do. If white tries to be as severe as possible, Atari here, play here, threatening to cut the stone, I would just connect. And now my shape is quite thick on the outside, and these white stones are floating, right? And white still only has the one eye, so he needs to come back and capture that single stone. I should be happy to let white do this. And now I get sente, right? The balance of territory isn't that bad at all. And I have sente, and I'm the one who's the thick person on the board, right? All of these 6 stones look weak, and they're floating. And I've got all kinds of moves I can play. I could take points in the corner. I could attack that stone. I could try to build a moyo on the right. I could play over here and cutting off the 6 stones and set them running. I've got all kinds of options. The game is pretty good. So even though I failed to kill the white group, which I agree completely was a disaster, the result wasn't disastrous, or it shouldn't have been, because white's been forced to live with only, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 points in Gote. That's not good enough for white. And so I should have had a better result, but this result's perfectly good, and the game should have been fine. But instead, I let my frustration throw me, really throw me. And I made myself thin and scattered, and I did lose this game. Anyway, I thought it might be fun for you to see the worst example of bradying that I've ever done. Happy holidays, all. See you soon.